massive lies. I mean, over.
Now, Donald Trump just called CNN and MSNBC illegal.
Well, I made the mistake of turning on the news.
Tell me why we're not seeing this on news stations. Across all of our states in the United States of America, we had veterans coming together and protesting Donald Trump.
Every dawn in America's like a wild reality TV premiere. Unscripted, unwanted. Trump's back hosting, juiced with extra power. Let's crack this open. Since Trump strutted into the Oval rerun, it's a bizarre haze, like a political acid trip. Costs are rocketing like they're SpaceX bound. The globe's glued to our train wreck drama, and regular folks wake up braced for the next unhinged twist. Fever dream or new norm? What's your vibe? Spill it below. Hooked on this chaos dive? Like this video? Subscribe. We're riding this reality roller coaster next.
Well, I made the mistake of turning on the news, and I listened to some of Trump talking in front of the Department of Justice, spewing his goddamn lies, telling things about us, about Americans. I can't stand that man. And now I find out I have pneumonia, and I can't march tomorrow. Hold up the truth, warriors. Hold it up for me.
It is getting very scary now, the rhetoric that's coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. He just declared that media is illegal. He just declared in a speech that CNN and MSNBC are illegal. I'm going to roll you the clip. We'll come back and we'll talk about it.
And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me, are political arms of the Democrat Party. And in my opinion, they're really corrupt and they're illegal. What they do is illegal. It makes no difference how big a victory I had. I can have the biggest victory in history. It makes no difference what kind of a failure the other side has.
Do you need any more reason at all to realize that treasonous traitor Trump is wanting to become a dictator, that he is installing an oligarchy, just like they have in Russia? He wants to be just like his buddy. We have freedom of the press in this country. It is clear that this man has never read the Constitution. He doesn't understand what the Constitution means. Everything that he is doing between trying to dismantle our government by trying to cut funding for everything, declaring that boycotts and protests are illegal, and now today he's declaring that the freedom of the press is illegal? The writing's on the wall. If you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. Doesn't matter if you are a Democrat or if you are a Republican. This man is a threat to the very fabric of our country.
Donald Trump doesn't give a crap about the First Amendment, which includes freedom of the press. He just gave this unhinged speech at the Department of Justice saying that the news media should be illegal for them to write bad things about me. They only write bad things, and that should be illegal because they are colluding. I'm sorry. Is this state-run media where he's trying to control the narrative, which he certainly is? Talk to the people behind the scenes who get the phone calls from the networks. But watch what he says. Make up your own mind. Here it is.
Here's the twist. Trump's not just steering the ship. He's got the media in a strangle grip. One peep of doubt? Crushed fast journalists daring a frown get zapped, muted, shoved aside, or smeared slick. It's North Korea's playbook moonlighting in DC big networks. They've either bowed low or tiptoe, like the next hit's pricier than fuel at the pump. Free press or puppet show, that's the stakes. This chokehold's tightening. What's it mean next?
Minnesota Republicans just introduced a bill that would allow you to be arrested for speaking out against Donald Trump. It would literally put you in the insane category, where they could put you in a mental institution, and they're calling it TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. If passed, this bill will literally claim you to be insane if you take issue with any of Donald Trump's policies, saying that you are now deranged. While TDS, or Trump Derangement Syndrome, is not a medically recognized diagnosis, it will be recognized in the state of Minnesota if this bill passes. If you speak out for any reason, you can end up in a mental institution. Now, that's not hyperbole, so according to Minnesota law, a concerned party just has to say, hey, this person seems to be deranged. Under the new law, you would then be able to be prosecuted with TDS, Trump Dispenser Syndrome, and incarcerated in a mental institution for up to 6 months. And that can be extended should you no longer come out being part of the Trump cult. This is just another way that that the government is trying to suppress anyone who goes against.
We have some extremely scary news right now. Donald Trump just called CNN and MSNBC illegal, and he made these remarks while speaking at the Department of Justice headquarters. Here's why this is significant. The First Amendment protects the freedom of the press. CNN and MSNBC are major media organizations, and they are the press. Labeling the press, whether or not you like them, as illegal mimics rhetoric coming from authoritarian countries. It's what people like Vladimir Putin did. And as someone who reports the news, I feel like it's important to stand up against these hateful remarks. Because no, CNN is not illegal, and neither is MSNBC. Now, I have the full video of his speech and more on my Substack, where I do a lot of reporting, so be sure to subscribe for free at the link in my bio. And I encourage you to join me. I encourage you to stand up and speak out against rhetoric like this. Because if we don't have a valid free press in America, then we are one step closer to an authoritarian-led nation. As always, comment below your thoughts, spread the word, and follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come. We have some extremely scary news right now. Donald Trump just called CNN and MSNBC illegal, and he made these remarks while speaking at the Department of Justice headquarters. Here's why.
America's not a nation to doze while democracy frays. Meet the fresh patriot surge, regular folks who won't let one guy crown himself king. These aren't slick-talking heads, just teachers, welders, vets, even ex-Trumpers who spot the cracks and roar back. Social media is their rebel gazette, slicing past the spin. TikTok, X, YouTube? War zones now, airing what networks dodge governments clocked it. Squashing's on blast, but every mute cranks the volume. Left, right, done. It's democracy versus a dude treating the Constitution like a napkin. I'll shield it from all foes, foreign or home, they vow, so help them God. While grit holds, this tale's got legs. Stand-up Americans keep the fire. Silence isn't winning yet.
I'm about to show you a video of something that happened all across the United States of America, and our press is not reporting on it. You're not going to see this on your local news. He definitely does need to be removed. Tell me why we're not seeing this on news stations. Across all of our states in the United States of America, we had veterans coming together and protesting Donald Trump. Yet most local news stations did not cover this, did not report on it at all. And you're seeing it being silenced on social media as well. We have a president who said that certain news stations are illegal, as if freedom of the press is illegal in some way. This is just more proof that this man, one, wants to be a dictator, and two, has never bothered to read our Constitution at all. Now, I know he doesn't want to have this get out there, so do your best and share this post so that other people are aware that people are protesting and doing town halls all across the United States because people are not happy with what he's doing.
You keep talking about the judge's written order, which hit the docket Saturday night at about 7:26 p.m., but he issued a verbal order before that at about 6:45 and 6:48 p.m. based on the court hearing, a verbal order from the bench. Does the White House feel the need to comply with a verbal order from this judge?
Again, as I said, all of the planes subject to the written order of this judge departed U.S. soil, U.S. territory before the judge's written order.
But what about the verbal order, which of course carries the same legal weight as a written order, and said for the planes to turn around if they were in the air?
There's actually questions about whether a verbal order carries the same weight as a legal order, as a written order, and our lawyers are determined to ask and answer those questions in court.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law, and we are equal under our Constitution. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. 2 days ago, a young American woman, Heather Heyer, was tragically killed. Her death fills us with grief, and we send her family our thoughts, our prayers, and our love.
This is my message to the media. First of all, what you need to know is that I'm a nobody. Unfortunately for you, there are tens of millions of nobodies. If you will not report on these protests, we will bring it to your fucking door. And we will do it every day.
Donald Trump just defied a court order and deported 250 Venezuelan migrants despite a federal judge explicitly forbidding him from doing so. So over the weekend, Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which is a wartime law that gives the president the authority to deport non-citizens without due process, which is why a federal judge yesterday ruled that Donald Trump must immediately stop his deportation flights and return all flights that are midair. However, this morning, the Trump administration decided that they want to defy the court order, and they told the judge that it is both too late to turn back the flights, and they claim that because the flights are currently over international waters, that the U.S. courts lack jurisdiction. So, in other words, Donald Trump just violated a federal court order, which is both an impeachable offense and should lead to him being held in contempt of court.
Donald Trump orders the Voice of America silent. Voice of America is a series of foreign-based radio stations that broadcast American propaganda to the world. They started in World War II to counter Nazi propaganda. Now, the problem with this is these stations were playing anti-Trump propaganda while being funded by the government that Trump is running. So now
this is definitely going to be part of an upcoming episode in my series. Remember how we told you before November 5th that Donald Trump not only wanted to consolidate all power to himself, but also wanted full control over the FCC and to have state-run media? He recently made a comment that the media is very bad and in many cases illegal. In a speech at the Department of Justice, Trump railed against the people and entities that he claimed have targeted him and said he views CNN and MSNBC as corrupt. He said that because they wrote so many bad things about him, in his opinion, they're really corrupt and they are illegal. What they do is illegal. In other words, because news outlets may be reporting on the bad, horrible things this authoritarian president is doing, obviously it's illegal. No, it's actually called free speech and freedom of the press. Maybe look that shit up. The things that they reported on, like your court cases and about your blatant lies that you've told over the years, are not illegal. However, as I and many people pointed out before November 5th, Trump wants to go after the media because they're mean to him. Anyone who points out the bad things that he's doing or tries to hold him accountable should instantly be deemed illegal, kind of like he wants to outlaw protesting. And we actually saw this coming months before November 5th, because his new FBI director, the QAnon conspiracy theorist Kash Patel, said several times before November 5th that in Trump's second term, we're coming after the media. He even said he wants to lock up journalists.
The thing that I will never forget for as long as I live is how quickly and willingly the American people turned on their friends and allies who were with them through wars, who were with them in their darkest days of 9/11.
A rumble's shaking America, but don't expect the nightly news to spill it. While they polish Trump's crown or twist stats that dodge your checkout shock, the streets are spitting fire, coast to coast, protests ignite. Gritty, unscripted, not the TV-friendly kind. Folks are fed up with ballooning costs, political hot air, and a guy who stamps democracy with his mug. New York's throngs blast corporate handouts as rent crushes hope. Midwest factory hands bolt, laughing off thriving lies as cash thins out South's red roots flip. Ex-MAGA faithful hoist no crowns signs. Rural Trumpville's waking. Billionaire tax candy doesn't stock pantries. Tune to news, dead air. Protests clash with the script, so they're ghosts. Only hand-picked cheerleaders get the mic, social media's the megaphone. We the People clips rack millions, bearing the growl. History's blunt. Ignore the crowd, mute their rage, and they'll scream harder. America's belting it now. This wave's surging. Media can't bury it. Seen this heat near you? Why the blackout? Plot or fluke? Drop your take below. Want unfiltered scoops? Like this video, subscribe. We're peeling back more soon.